We are going to start the post-race press conference for the second annual South Point 400, and we are joined by the winning owner and winning crew chief for the number 19 Bass Pro Shops Toyota. We have owner Joe Gibbs and crew chief Cole Pearn. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic to you. We will start with Justin, and we'll work our way around.
Justin Schuler, Speedway Media. First off, congratulations. Cole, question for you, though. Going into the Roval last year, you were leading going into the final turn until Jimmy kind of messed all that up for you guys. But how much of a relief is it knowing that you don't have to worry about a similar situation where the Roval and even the short track of Richmond can produce so many different variables of unknowns?
Oh, it's huge. Yeah. I mean, you never know what can happen. You can go and think you're going to run well and something, bad happens. The 20 was just pitted next to us and they had a good car and something weird happened and all of a sudden you have a bad day. So yeah, winning and not having to worry about that's huge. But, Richmond, Roval, they're two really good tracks for us. So we're kind of going on the approach of, keep our foot on the gas and hopefully we can rack up some more playoff points at those two places.
Go next to Nate, then to Kathy, then to Jerry.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Cole, you guys haven't quite had the results the last few weeks, but Martin said Thursday that I just have a good feeling about this year. Did you kind of share that optimism that once the playoffs started, you guys would be in good shape?
Yeah, we've ran really well. We had a really good car at Bristol and, had a tire go down and we had a pit road incident at Darlington with a good car and then we got wrecked on pit road at Indy with a good car and it's just, you have stuff like that happens and you just kind of fly under the radar. But, we were kind of coming here, we were optimistic with it being hot and, similar to Charlotte where we ran really well with this package. So definitely for us, when it's hotter and slicker, it's a lot better. That's where Martin is really good at it, where you got to actually, wheel the thing. And it's not just hammer down who's got the least drag kind of deal. So definitely for us, it was we were optimistic coming here.
Challenge for this race, did you guys feel like it seemed like you guys were better on long runs, which you guys often are, like the season finale at Homestead last year? Was that kind of what you were anticipating, that long run car would be a better strategy than for you guys?
I mean, that just seems to be our strength, right? So you got to play to your strengths. Obviously, when we had that one caution, the 4 got the lead, and he was flying there for a bit. The track had cooled down after the yellow, and they've been their kind of approaches to be pretty trimmed out, but. Even towards the end of that run, we were starting, to make a lot of time on them. And, when it's at, say, green, it was that was really good for us. Obviously, if we had had late yellow there, it could have been a totally different story. And that's just kind of how this racing is. You got to make your bed, whether you're going to be good on a short run or a long run. And it's just got to play out for you. So it's kind of nerve-wracking. And having all that stuff outside of your control is what it is.
Go to Kathy, Jerry, Jenna, then Jeff.
Kathy Brown, pitting outside the box. My question is for you, Cole. With restarts and with gaining advantage on pit road, what did you do to the car tonight that allowed Martin to catch Kevin in those closing laps? Because it seems like with this new package, restarts is where you need to do all your passing.
Yeah, we kind of had a little bit of a weird night, I think, with the track cooling down. We don't have any history of that. We've never run day to night here at Vegas, so that was a little bit unknown. I think when it first got dark, we were a bit too free, and he just couldn't drive it hard enough to kind of stay with him. But then as fuel burned off and tires kind of worn out, we were able to start closing on him, and then we just knew the direction we needed to go on the last stop, and luckily we hit the balance right, and it was back on the good side of again. And then he just did a great job. I mean, Martin did a great job getting to pit road. He closed up a lot on the 4 doing that, so that helped us. And then the picker had one of their best stops of the night. So it just to win these races just takes everybody and everything going together at the same time.
Sure.
Jerry Jordan, Kicking the Tires Net. Coach, for you, obviously a couple cars not so well tonight, couple cars, one car great. Can you talk about the emotional aspect of that from a team owner's position? I got one for you, Cole.
Yeah, our sport is very different in that you got to have 4 teams work together to really gain knowledge, what happens at the racetrack, make the right calls, and the right adjustments. And to show you how hard our sport is, last week we had all 4 cars had issues. We have 4 cars, they all had issues. This week we had 3 of them. It shows you how hard our sport is. It's hats off and a real compliment to Cole and what he was able to keep the 19 up there, he and Martin, And also, we had great pit stops at the end. It was a total team effort. I think what the last 2 weeks for us just highlights how hard our sport is. And it's hard, and yeah, it is hard. Our meeting tomorrow, our technical meeting will be tough because 3 of them, had a real tough day. But I think what you need to do is try and figure out, okay, what happened? How do you keep it from happening again? And learn from those tough nights. And so many different things can happen to you in motorsports.
And for you, Cole, sort of along those lines, how do you as the crew chief work with Adam and the other crew chiefs over at JGR, this being your first year over there, to kind of figure out what you need to do to get the entire organization, up a little higher?
Yeah, I mean, we have a great relationship. All 4 of us really on the crew chief side. We've all worked together now for a few years. Even when I was out in Denver, we all got along really well. And it's funny, like we have meetings where we got to decide what we want to do as a group. And I'd say there's very rarely that we all disagree. We're usually all on the same page. And I think when everyone has the same understanding of what we need to do and takes the same approach, it just helps keep the company pulling the whole right direction. And I think that's one of the greatest strengths of JGR, and credit to coach and all the other guys there that kind of put all those people together, and the fact that we have a system that we can work so well together and pull the rope the same way. It just you get seasons where you got 14 wins.
Go to Jenna, then to Jeff, then to Holly, then to David.
Jennifer, AP. Coach, you've won 14 of 27 races this year, and all 4 of your guys have won. How did you get to that point where you guys are just so dominant equally across the board?
Yeah, I think it's in pro sports, what I've said is, in pro sports, big time sports, if you got any weakness, it's going to find you. And so I think the key is to try and be as strong as you can all the way across. You got to have great pit stops, obviously. Got to have the engineering group and Cole and the crew chiefs. It just takes everything. And I think we've worked extremely hard at our race shop. Coy, myself, all the leadership there, everybody just, we go to work every day. This is all we do. And we try and make sure that we don't leave a weakness. But that's hard. You can't really cover everything. And so, but I think it's just a lot of hard work and being careful with the people you add. And I would say this, it's all about people. You get the right people together, you're going to be successful. I want to really thank Toyota and our other partners, Bass Pro, Johnny called him from the Winner's Circle, Jeff from Auto Owners, Nora Miller was here. It's just, it's a thrill to see companies like that. Our sport's totally different. That for them to put everything that they put into this, and then to see them get a victory is just, it's great, and it's a thrill for us.
With the way that your organization has dominated and you've got all 4 cars in there, are you going to be disappointed if you don't win a championship?
I think you're always disappointed, because that's the goal. And I think you also realize, man, it is just so hard, and which is, I think, illustrated by tonight and what happened to us and our other 3 cars. But I think, I think you work so hard. That's the goal for any driver or crew chief. These guys, they've got so many years to drive a car, so many chances to win a championship, and you don't want to see them miss one. And so we'll put everything we got into it and see what happens.
Jeff?
Well, Jeff Gluck over here, back here. Hi. I'm kind of confused on so for instance, Keselowski's car was totally off, and they somehow flip a switch. He gets, ends up P3. Hamlin, they look really good, they fall off. Is stuff like that happen because of the sensitivity of the cars and making adjustments, or was it just the change from day to night explains that kind of stuff, or why do we see cars have such differences in speed?
Oh, it's because you have no horsepower, right? So it's all about the speed is being able to be in the gas, and if you got a bit of a handling issue where you can't be in the gas, then you don't go a little bit slow, you go way slow, it's just the magnitude of these cars and how sensitive they are right now with not having any horsepower. It's insane. It's so like, I can't describe to you how frustrating it is to work on, because the slightest little thing can just completely unhinge the whole thing. So I think, early in the race it was really slow. The pace was a lot slower than practice, and the 2 was really good in practice and was struggling. So I can only assume that, as nighttime came and it cooled down, the pace picked up similar to what we were running in practice, and then all of a sudden he was better, and it probably went the other way for other guys. It's just it just really comes down to all your speed is being in the gas, and if something goes on where you can't be, you go terrible.
Go to Holly, then to David, then to Tom.
Can I ask Martin and Cole a question?
You may.
Of course you can.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask you if you would tell me, in all honesty, how big a deal it is to win the first one in the playoff. What kind of a statement that makes, and what that does for your team to go on and win this particular race to start things off.
Well, I think it's huge. I think it's huge for a lot of reasons. First off, we've had a stretch of 6 or 7 races, maybe 6, that we've been really strong in, and we feel like we've had cars capable of winning, and we honestly don't have a whole lot to show for it. We had no bonus points in that stretch, and it was getting frustrating. But we knew we were really fast, and we knew we were working on the right things, and I knew the team was doing a great job. So it's kind of like, for us, inside of our own minds, it's kind of it's kind of indication that, hey, we were doing the right things. We are doing the right things, and when we can get things to roll our way and not make any mistakes, this is what we can do. So great timing, obviously, with the playoffs starting to be able to do it. And I think a lot of people have been like, hey, where's the 19 been? We don't expect them to be that strong, and we know we can. We know what we can do. So when we live up to our potential, it makes us all happy. And I know everybody that makes this happen. Coach and Johnny and Jeff and all the men and women back at the shop, they've seen this. They knew what we were capable of. So that, for me, that just feels good to be able to do the job we're here to do, and hopefully we can carry this momentum on. Most importantly, the playoff points are huge. We got 6 tonight, and we got 2 more weeks to try to get some more with no consequences.
Cole, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just echo what he said there. I mean, racing's a pretty depressing sport. I mean, you work really, really hard just to be disappointed every week. So it's it's huge when it goes right. I mean, you think about it, you can win 8 races in a season and have the best career, a career year, but that means you're probably miserable 30 other weeks. So it's the ratio's not very good. So definitely a lot more fun to win and just to get the monkey off her back, it feels like, and hopefully, like Martin said, just keep running well these next couple weeks.
We'll go to David, then to Tom, then to Dustin, then to Davey.
David Soap, ESPN Radio. Coach, I'd asked you before the race, right here. I asked you before the race what your concerns are, and you talked about basically it's a 3-round elimination, and you're about a third of the way there, and you were concerned with kind of cleaning up some stuff from Indianapolis. Well, one of the teams looked like they got it cleaned up all the way to winner's circle. It had a lot of other struggles. Are you concerned with that as you move forward?
Yeah, we've had 2 weeks where we've had a lot to overcome, and I think we understand kind of what happened with Eric's. The biggest thing about motorsports is making sure that you figure out what it was, and then try and put in place procedures so it doesn't happen again. Now, if it's just a wreck or something, then obviously I think Kyle, what happened to him. But I think Denny's, we need to figure it out, and then Eric's, we need to make sure we understand what happened. And so it's really tough from that standpoint, and it shows you as good as we've kind of been and won races for 2 weeks in a row, we've had a lot happen to us.
Martin, another question. With the restarts being, basically chaotic is probably the best way to put it, it became really important. How concerned were you with the starting position of 24 and the qualifying with moving up to the front? I mean, it's pretty impressive moving up to 8th in the first stage.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think the start of the race is always a lot more calm than restarts, because nobody really knows what they have yet. They know it's the beginning of the race. There's a lot that's going to happen. And everybody just kind of feels their car out for a couple laps. So the initial start is usually a lot calmer than restarts. And I feel like as you go through the race, every restart gets a little more crazy because everybody's cars are getting a little more better, better dialed in. Everybody's getting more confidence. Usually the track, especially at a place like here where it's cooling down, the track's getting faster so you can be more aggressive. So they definitely ramp up throughout the night. The first one is definitely the most chill.
Tom?
Tom Zaleski, Iron County Today. Martin or Cole for either of you. Try to infuse a little positivity, piggyback off of Holly's question a little bit. 2 years ago, you won the playoff opener and went on to win the whole thing.
It's over. Perfect.
Is there any? How do you think you can duplicate that here? What's
The year before we won it too, and we were knocked out of Talladega.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the potential here to continue on and win the whole, perhaps be challenging and get to Homestead at least?
I mean, I feel awesome about it. I feel like, and I think if we can get to Homestead, we're going to be really tough to handle. With that being said, it's tough to get there. So, 9 more weeks or 8 more weeks now, we got to be really good. No mistakes, can't beat yourself. That's first and foremost. And I know we have the team and the performance. So, if we all do our jobs and not have any crazy things fall out of the sky and hit us, I think we'll have a chance at it and look forward to that opportunity. I appreciate the optimism, but
We'll go to Dustin, then we'll go to Davey, and then we'll finish with Kathy.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Cole, there's obviously you talked about the different ways you can set up the cars for the weekends. When you look at the 4 and you look at what he's done here, Indianapolis and Michigan, where he started no worse than 3rd and finished in the top 2, how much of a concern is that, or challenge is that for you guys, considering what you guys are using, obviously a different strategy? And if you want to address that too, Martin.
Yeah, I mean, I think each week is a bit different. Michigan, was interesting. We were really good there, and we just kind of didn't get the way the restarts worked out for us. It didn't play out. But yeah, I mean, that's their MO, right? I mean, they're dragging the pipes, slammed in the back, just going for all out speed, and it's working for them. So all the power to them. And I think for us, we've had a couple races where we've gone more that way, and they haven't been very good for us. So it's I think everyone has their own take, and I think you generally look at JGR as a whole as how well we qualify this year. I think we got 1 pole and 14 wins. So I mean that's the variance in the strategy.
Davey?
Davey Siegel with Front Stretch. This one can go to Martin and Cole, pulling a Holly Kane here. Were you guys surprised with the amount of cautions that we saw tonight? It seemed like yesterday a lot of the drivers thought that there was going to be a little bit more chaos.
I'm not surprised. I think anytime we go to a track that has multiple grooves, it helps keep the cautions down. With these cars, with this package the way it is, you kind of want to you're trying to run in clean air as much as you possibly can. So, the risk of guys hitting each other goes down just because if you're trying to get clean air, you're trying to stay away from people. And of course, you can run anywhere on this track. So I was a little nervous at the end of the race, knowing there was so many guys running up against the fence. Just praying a caution wouldn't come out there. But aside from that, I think that we just get spread out. You're trying to stay in clean air, trying to keep your car stuck to the track as much as possible.
Kathy Brown, pitting outside the box. My question is for Coach. First, I want to congratulate you on Ty's win.
Yeah.
The other night. With the 4 drivers that you have and the 4 different personalities that you have, after a night like you had tonight, where you have Martin in victory lane, Eric had his problems, Denny, had his issues, and then you have Kyle, who obviously got back up onto the lead lap, and then late in the race, it just kind of all fell apart for him. When you have those types of races, are you the type of person that takes them in one by one to speak with them about their night, to kind of give them peace of mind and calm them down and pump them back up going into the next week's race?
I think generally it kind of depends on what happened, but for me, we text on the way home, and then our big day is tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We have our competition meeting, and I think everybody the guys will tell you, we kind of share everything. And if there's issues and problems or somebody's upset about something, that happens too. You have some arguments and this and that. But I think during that meeting, you kind of hash everything out. And then if there's anything that I feel like's left over, I try and see the guys afterwards before they leave. And we try and get it all kind of taken care of, you know, on Mondays. And but that's the time I kind of text, talk tomorrow, and then talk after, and then our meeting. And I think with all that, you kind of have a chance. I just feel awful with, like Eric tonight. You know, I just feel awful on something like that. 2 years in a row. Last year, he was minding his own business and got in a wreck he couldn't avoid in the first race. And here tonight, we have a crazy thing happen to him. And so you're heartbroken when something like that happens, because he's been very consistent for the last 12 weeks or so and really done his part. In the last 2 weeks, we've had tough things happen. So that's part of our sport. You got to try and overcome that.
Jenna?
For Martin and Cole, I know you guys were affiliated with JGR in your previous two playoffs, but now that you're fully inside, does it feel any different?
I'll let him answer, because for me it doesn't really.
Oh yeah, it's way different. Yeah, Charlotte, you can't go outside, it's too hot. No, my kids ask me every day, like, can we go back where there's snow?
Is it any more secure or stable that you're inside now instead of being like the stepsister?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously that's huge. I mean, Coach and everybody at JGR put a lot of work in to get us there and make a home for us. I mean, we could have easily been out of a job. So it's, it's huge. It's great to have their support, and it means a lot. I mean, I miss Denver. I miss Furniture Row. It's, I'll look back on, probably the greatest time of my career, and it's fun to be here and building a new path at JGR. So definitely, it's kind of crazy that you can go leave a team, but then you kind of go to the team that you've been working with and be able to hit the ground running is a pretty unique opportunity.
Out of a job? I don't think so.
I was trying to tell you how important the sponsors are.
Well, gentlemen, congratulations on the victory, and good luck next week in Richmond.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.